What is going on, Nuggets Nation NBA fans? My name is Tom Leuthner. Welcome back to another episode of Nuggets Today, presented by Fan Arch. We have some topics to cover here, and that first topic is Sleeper Today. Or Sleeper Nuggets, rather. Sleeper Nuggets on X always tends to post. They are running, I believe they run the community on X, so I am part of that, and they do post something Nuggets related almost every day. People that they think are going to be good, their kind of takes. And one of their kind of takes the other day was very interesting to me. It was that they said that they believe Holmes in a few years' time could be the Denver Nuggets Reid. Now, I don't fully disagree with that. I think that if you look at their builds, they are semi-similar. Reid is a bigger body. I think that their skill sets are close to the same, but I also think they have their differences. I do think that Duran may be a little bit of a better interior defender when it comes to blocking shots. We did see a little bit of it in the summer league. We did see a lot of it in college. Nas is obviously a knockdown shooter, and we all know that. We know that he is one of the best shooting backup bigs in the entire NBA, and he could 100% make a difference. The Nuggets as a fan base or as a team obviously know that because they watched him be a major factor for the Timberwolves when they played them a few years ago in the semi-conference finals, or conference semifinals rather. So I do agree. I also think that Duran needs more confidence. I covered this when he was in the summer league. Obviously, you're coming off an injury like that. We're going to see a little bit of a lack of confidence. We've seen it in players throughout the entire NBA. I remember going to Karis LeVert's first game back actually on the Nets after he snapped his leg, and you could tell he didn't want to jump. And I know that that's going to take a major toll on, your mindset and your mental being, especially when that injury did sideline you for an entire year. And I know that's something I've covered prior, that Duran was saying that all the veteran guys have been helping him with his injury and how to gain his confidence back. I also think that Reid is a better ball handler, and that's not to say that Duran can't handle the ball, but Reid almost plays like a point center at times, and you see it, or power forward at times. You see him and how skilled and talented he really is with the ball when he puts it on the floor, and he can cross up just about any big man if he really wanted to. He does play a little bit of a backseat role when in the game with Ant. Obviously, he does stand in the corner a lot, shoot threes, but he can dribble. If you go back, watch his college highlight tapes or high school highlight tapes, that guy is a point center. He's literally a massive body that can dribble through anybody. So again, not to say that Duran cannot dribble, but I think that Nas's skill set is more towards a point center / forward, and Duran is going to be an athletic shooting, two-way point center. So, but I do see how they are close or seem close in skill set, and that Duran can fit that same kind of role for the Denver Nuggets. Now, talking about Duran and the Nuggets organization, there is going to be a potential great starting five here in Denver, and that is going to be excluding Duran. That is Cam, or let's go from the 1 through 5. It's going to be the same as last year. It's going to be most likely Jamal, Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, AG, Jokic. But I do think that this year is so much different because Denver does have the depth to run a different starting five every day if they wanted to with different kind of players. And I think that it's going to play a major factor in multiple parts of Denver and multiple points of Denver throughout the season. The first thing being that Denver can actually use different starting fives depending on teams they're playing against. And we talked about the coaching adjustments that will play a factor into this as well, where Denver's going to rotate coaches next to David Adelman in the main assistant coaching seat throughout the entire season based on matchups. So I think there's times that we'll see a shooting starting five around Jokic. You have the opportunity to play a smaller starting five who can light it up, and that around Jokic, and that's Jamal. If you don't want Brown and AG in there, that's Jamal, Strother, Timmy, Cam Johnson, Jokic. You can now run a big lineup, which I would love to see, which could be either Jamal or Bruce at the 1. You could play Cam Thomas, Duran, AG, and Jokic all together. You have times where you can play Val. I also think that this takes a major step in forward for Denver when it comes to wearing players down, the wear and tear on bodies. Now, I'm not saying that MPJ's injury was a full wear and tear injury, and AG's injury was a full wear and tear injury, and Russell Westbrook's hand injury was full wear and tear, but it definitely played a factor when you only had 6 or 7 guys that can come in and play. Now, guys, And I'm not the biggest fan of, having people sit out throughout the year and let their body get a break if they just need it. I know that's the whole thing with like older guys. LeBron does it, KD does it, Kawhi does it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. But if Jokic needs a game here or there, or maybe 2 games in 2 weeks, he has the opportunity to finally go out, sit, and go, you know what, guys? My body's a little tired. I need to break. I need to sit. And now you have Duran and Val there to back him up. If Cam, who misses a good amount of games, misses the same amount of games that he usually does, which is around like 20, 25, then you have Bruce and Tim Hardaway there for him. You could drop CB to the 3 and start Strother if you want to. You can play a bigger lineup, put AG at the 3 and play Duran at the 4. And you still have Jokic there. If Jamal needs to miss games, that is the one position I think has the least amount of depth, and I've been covering that. So maybe you see some Pickett minutes. You definitely see Bruce Brown manning the backup 1 for now. So I guess you see Bruce Brown there. You see Pickett getting his minutes. If Strother needs a break, that doesn't affect the bench unit because now you have Tim Hardaway Jr. there to back up Christian Brown. If Christian Brown goes down or needs a break at any time, you have Tim Hardaway Jr. And not to mention, I haven't even said Peyton Watson's name because he could also play. And, me and Stretch were talking about it. If you need a hustle lineup, you now have a lineup of Bruce Brown out there. You have a lineup of AG out there. You have a lineup of Duran out there. You have a lineup of Brown out there, Christian Brown out there. You have a lineup of Peyton Watson out there. Those guys are all going to go. Tim Hardaway. You have guys who are going to go out and actually hustle now, when I felt that there was a lack of that last year in Denver, where long rebounds would just sort of get away. Another guy that I want to talk about real quick is somebody that is still on the market, and that is Cody Martin. Now, I cover Cody Martin as a potential pickup for Denver, and I think that it sort of blows my mind that he's not on a contending roster right now. I do think that Denver should look to add somebody to that roster spot. I'm sure that Brown would take a vet minimum for a team that could really use him, but I'm very surprised that a contending team, like maybe even the Eastern Conference, the Knicks could use him as an extra body to play that 2, 3, 4 for them. I'm sure there are other teams out there. The Warriors could probably use him off the bench. I know he's not the best shooter in the world, but he could definitely, I feel like, make a difference for a team that is actually contending for a playoff spot. Now, talking about that, like I said, I know Denver has one last spot open. If I'm Denver, and the way that I would construct it is, I would go out and get the 13th man or the 12th man to be the guy who is a vet who will come in and can make a difference here and there, but only for 7 minutes a game if needed. So I know that I've been talking about him. I think Amir Coffey would be great, but I don't know if he would be willing to take that role. He is 27, and I think that he's probably looking for a chance to play somewhere, but if you look at players that are still on the market, one guy that I would love would be a guy like Alec Burks, a guy like Cody Martin, but I don't think Martin would take that role either. But Alec Burks, who's a vet, who's coming towards the end of his career, who can be a 12-man when if Timmy's down or Bruce is down or Julian's down or Watson's down, he can play that 2 or 3 role. I mean, if we're playing a small lineup where that Denver's going to have shooters around Jokic, he can play that small 4 role. So that is somebody that I would love to see Denver bring in. I know they're most likely going to wait for this last spot, but with the incompetence of at least 2 players on the end of Denver's bench, which is Tyson and Najee, and maybe the incompetence of Pickett, I know people like him, then I think that you sort of need that 12-man to come out and to be sort of your 10-man, 9-man maybe, 11-man, around there. To come in and get a few minutes when guys like Strother, Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Jamal Murray all gassed, to come in and get those minutes. And Denver would be a full-on force, which they already are, but it would make them even more of a force because now you have a guy that you could just randomly throw in here and there who can knock down threes for you and be a force around Jokic. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I will catch you guys tomorrow. If you guys want me to cover anything, please let me know down below. Thank you guys.